Of all the parts of high school that cause confusion, testing easily ranks among the highest. Most countries have one main test related to college admission, and we in the United States have many, managed by different organizations with many acronyms, and to make things harder, many people do not really understand testing, which causes more confusion and stress. Let's review tests that matter for college admission and also explore what test optional means for those students who opt to not take a standardized test or who applies to colleges that are test optional. SAT and ACT. These two standardized tests help admission officers predict the probability of how well you will do in college when reviewed in comparison against your GPA. Both tests have similar sections and ultimately the same purpose. While there are some differences between them, there is no strategic benefit to take one over the other for any reason or for any college or major. So how to choose? Take a free practice test of each type and consider which you prefer. Think about how you plan to prepare for the test and what quality resources like Khan Academy you'll use prior to paying for any formal test prep. And finally, do not spend a lot of time in test prep until you finish taking all the content that these tests evaluate. For example, if you haven't taken Algebra II or trig, why pay for test prep? It would be like paying for a coach who's only going to coach the last 5 miles of a marathon, but you're on mile 15. SAT subject tests. These tests cause a lot of confusion because they are called SAT subject tests and therefore get confused with the SAT. Also, many teachers and counselors do not give students and parents a heads up when they're taking a class that is relevant for that particular test. For example, when you're taking Algebra II trig, taking the SAT subject test in Math 1 or 2 might be good for the month of June versus waiting till the next year. How do you know whether to take these tests and which to take? Colleges and universities list on their admission requirements page if they are recommended or required. Once you know, plan the year and don't try to take them all during their senior year in the fall because you'll be very busy with the application. Advanced placement. Advanced placement tests are unique because the tests are directly related to the expectations for what you were taught and learned. Why does this matter? The better you do in the class, the more likely you do well on the test. Use early grades as an indication for how well you're on track for the test. If you are able to do well in AP in one or more AP courses and tests, those results can be important ways of developing a competitive application. If AP is out of reach, not to worry. Just focus on taking the most challenging courses to which you have access and where you can succeed. Test optional. Some colleges offer a test-optional admission program where students are not required to submit test scores from SAT, subject tests, or in some cases AP. These colleges feel that in some cases college readiness is not always correlated with test score, or they are seeking students who may not perform well in standardized tests, but who have talents and skills that could be adversely impacted by not getting into certain programs. So how do you know if test optional is right for you? Develop your college list, and if at least one of those colleges requires certain tests, well then you know what you need to do. But overall, most colleges and universities do require standardized test scores. These tests are here to stay because they do help you serve a valuable purpose in evaluating skills. While tests should not solely define your future, they can be an accurate indicator of skill and readiness, which can sometimes help you ensure that you'll be successful in terms of difficulty of coursework in college.